I am so glad you decided to join us today. This is the Words for Life podcast, where we have candid conversations about successes, challenges, and the benefits of strengthening your relationship with God. This will positively impact your life. Welcome to episode 22 of the Words for Life podcast. I'm your host, Terrence Farrell, aka T. Farrell. And I want to thank everyone for your ongoing support. I want to thank you for the DMs, the emails. It lets me know that we're on the right track. The inspiration is hitting you. I'm also gonna, again, if you have not to this date liked, commented, or subscribed, I'm gonna ask you to do that now. Liking and commenting, that's for us. Boosts our ratings a little bit. Subscribing is for you. This way, when you want to see the inspirational content again or the next episode, it's already in your subscriptions. You don't have to search for it, figure out what's the name again. So I'm going to give you a second to do that right now. Go ahead. And I thank you. Good. Thank you very much. Before we get started, there's one thing that's been burning on my heart, where God's been leading me to a website called the Kingdom Driven Entrepreneur. Now, I get no kickback from this, but it's just been blessing my life. Kingdom Driven Entrepreneur, they got a couple of books out. I read two of the books so far. It's by Shay Bynes. A Kingdom-Driven Entrepreneur's Guide to Doing Business God's Way, and Grace Over Grind, how grace will take you where grinding can't. And so the premise of both books and the Kingdom-Driven Entrepreneur website as well is having God as your CEO. And a lot of us, we for those that are Christian entrepreneurs, we do it, in the name of God. We don't do anything that offends God. But the concept of having a kingdom-driven business where he directs you, where he says, you know what, I want you to go left. And it's like, yeah, but everything looks like right. And to really dig into that has been benefiting me right now. It's a mind shift, but it's a good thing. So I just wanted to encourage anybody that feels the pull to go there. It might not be for everybody, but anybody that's been looking for something that I want to take my business like somewhere else. And I used to grind hard. And the concept that God's grace can take you where grinding can never take you, because he blessed you, he's still doing miracles. That was just it was an eye opener for me. And I'm digging hard into that. So I'm inviting anybody else that sounds like you, go to kingdomdrivenentrepreneur.com. I think it'll bless your life if you're at that point. All right, so now for this episode 22. It's a special one for me. Got a good friend on with me, and my special guest today is a multi-platinum producer, mix engineer, and true musician at heart. I've had the benefit of playing with him for years. He's helped me out a lot. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce Glen Mosley. How you doing, bro?
What's up? How y'all doing? Yeah, I'm doing good. Keeping it pushing, man. Glad to be here, and glad to be able to share whatever I can with the audience, and to have shared with you as well over the years. Good personal friend and a great guy. And look, this is one of the guys you want to have in your life. If it's anybody you want to have in your life, it's Terrence Farrell.
I appreciate that, man. I do. I really appreciate that. So I'd like to open up with a wide open question. Take it wherever. Who is Glen Mosley?
Okay. Well, I think a lot of people know me as a musician. Everybody who knows me, and those maybe who don't know, has seen me on an organ. They've seen me on keyboards, maybe even piano. They've seen me at different places, venues, Kingsborough, Bethel, and all these other different Seventh-day Adventist Church, Pilgrim, many different Sunday churches, So musician, music producer, been on a couple of platinum records. I do music production. I do mixing. I do computer building, computer upgrades, different things for music related computers or just in general. Live sound. You might have seen me behind somebody's mixing board. You might have seen me actually setting up somebody's sound from scratch, mixing for online, all kinds of different things. I'm a dad. I guess I'm a mentor to a lot of folks because they are always calling me about, hey, man, what's that chord? How do I mix? How do you produce? Hey, show me this, do that, all of that stuff. So I'm going to say mentor last. So that's a small definition of what Glen Mosley is.
Nice, nice. And I wanna piggyback on that because you're one of the rare individuals that have risen to the, let's say, multi-platinum producer status and still is real free with your gift. Like if I've called and said, yo, check this out. And you go, all right, sounds good, but you might want to check out this frequency here. And you're just real unselfish with your knowledge. And I really appreciate that. You don't find that a lot in the industry. And that's one of the things that hits for me, man. It's one of the things, don't ever lose that, man. You always had a teaching mentality.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I think that information is pretty much free. Is what you do with it, right? So I can't, especially if somebody is trying to find out information and I think it's going to benefit you, what's the point of me holding back the information? Look, if you need to know how better to mix or how better to produce your song or whatever the case may be, I'll tell you. It's no big deal. It's really not the information, it's what you do with the information,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. So now, this whole podcast, I built it to look at the successes, the challenges, and also the lessons learned through it to inspire people as they move through life. So my next question is going to be, what is one of your most memorable success stories?
Okay. I might want to say getting onto a platinum record, but I'm not going to say that. I would say that one day I realized that everything that I do as an entrepreneur or everything that I've tried to do is actually able to support me. And against what people have said in the past, and I've heard it from all angles, from my parents to people in my life have all said, music isn't going to support you. Music isn't anything you do as a full-time job. Go get a job. And many people have said over and over, you should probably go get a job. And one day I realized, after all of the struggles and after a lot of back and forth, that no, this is my job. Music can support me. Music production, mixing, and having multiple streams of income based on those things can support me a lot better than I would have done trying to be a computer programmer, which is where I was headed after high school. In high school, I was programming little games and programming things before people actually had smartphones. I was programming, and me and another guy would try to make games on computers, and I had like lines of code, like 50, 75, 100 pages of lines of code that I would write down on paper, and I was headed that way. And I interned at the Transit Authority at J Street, and I was programming a bunch of people had file cabinets, and they wanted the information in the computer at that point, and I was good at that. They kept calling me back as an intern to go to different departments and get their information from the file cabinet, or put a structure in place that would get that information from the file cabinet onto the computer. And at the end of the internship, I was supposed to be hired at the Transit Authority, but I think I made a mistake along the way. I think I did my job a little too well. So much so that the people that were hired there to do the work that I'm doing, I'm just an intern. I'm kind of coming in there trying to help and assist or figure out what's actually going on. But what ended up happening is many people would call me from their different departments and say, hey, we need this guy to come over and do, because the guys that were in IT were kind of lazy and they were in there trying to play games and relax or whatever they were doing just to get the check. And I'm here getting nothing and walking around in different places and programming stuff. So it made them look bad. So I think that got some demerits. And when it came time to hire me, the people who had to hire me were the guys who got the demerits.
Mm.
So that kind of like fizzled out. I didn't get hired there. And I decided, you know what? All this computer knowledge, let me continue on and add that to the music. And so I was sequencing and I was adding the computer into the music. This was before computers could do the full job for music. Right. This was like you had a computer and it would record your MIDI notes or record what you played. And I had 4 or 5 keyboards in the room and drum machine, etc. And I would program that. That was like 88, 89. And I thank God that I didn't get that job, because had I did get the job, I wouldn't have had time to develop what I am today, develop computers, develop music, and have this career and place in life where I am today. And I thank God for that. So to answer your question, realizing that it is possible in a music field to actually support your family and to have a career, you know, proving all the folks wrong that said it couldn't be done or that it wouldn't be fruitful, that it is possible. And I thank God for that.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, and a lot of people need to hear that. So now let me ask this: what would be some of the keys you would give to people, to musicians, artists that are out there trying to do the music thing? And, you know, there's just a ton of struggling musicians and there's a ton of people saying you can't do it. And Spotify is going to take all your money and there's no way you can make money anymore. What would be the advice or one of the keys that kept you where you are?
Okay. To the musicians and the artists that's out there, I would definitely say continue to take constructive criticism and hone your craft. You might have to have a day job. You might have to have something that's going to keep money on the table. You might have to have something that's going to keep you moving or pay for your basic needs. Or you might decide, listen, I'm going to stay with mom a little longer, or whatever the case, move in with a roommate, or however you got to do it. But whatever it is that you're doing, definitely it's worth putting your time into. It's definitely not an overnight success. It's definitely going to take a while to get to where you have to go, and start charging for your work. People will pay for your stuff. There's a lot of people who need what you have. There's a lot of people who, if you don't say a price, they will allow you to do whatever it is you do and not have to pay you. So if you actually put some value on your work, you'll get closer to the goals of that you would like to do, is support yourself. You know, what you have is valuable. What everybody has something to offer. Everybody has something that's valuable, no matter what stage of life that you are. Even if you're just learning to play or learning to produce or learning to something, there's somebody else who isn't in your position and needs something that you have to offer. And you can charge for it. Don't be afraid to put a price on your stuff. Not to say, hey, listen, I'm just learning, I need $1,000 for this one thing I'm doing, but start out at $50. Start out at $100. Go to 200 or whatever the case may be. When you have some more experience and then you start noticing, oh yeah, my stuff is starting to get closer to things that I see out there that I know cost a lot of money, you can raise your price. And actually, if you start out with a price, people have to respect the fact that you are putting yourself in the arena of getting paid. If they want your service, which everything that you're doing should be treated as a service, or most things, charge. Get some money for it and build up a little bit at a time. And eventually 2 years later, you'll be surprised to know that, hey, my $50 has turned into $500.
Right.
Or 5 years later, you might find out that my $50 has turned into $1,000 per item that you're doing. And that's because you actually took yourself serious and it took the time to build it up. But if you don't start charging, and not to say you could just charge and not really do what you need to do. If you're not that great about what you need to do, go research YouTube.
Yes.
YouTube is your friend.
Yes,
you can find out about anything you want to do, how exactly to do it, how to do it better, how to do it the best, and you can add on daily. Every day you should be, not every day, but regularly, I would say you should research what it is you're doing and find out how other people are doing it. Find out if what you're doing is on that level and where you need to go to get to that level. And when you start to find out, okay, now I'm getting close to where these people that I've been looking at are at a level of quality, switch. Go to something else. Go to something else more complicated. Go to something else more commercial or more professional, if you want to call it. And use that as a mentor or as a measuring stick and work towards that. And if you continually change your focus onto more, I don't want to say complicated, but more professional things, then you by default will become more professional. When you look around 5-6 years later, you'll be able to quit that job.
Nice.
Or you'll be able to reduce it to part-time. And now you can have whatever it is you do as a full-time situation because you've started charging some years back. You took yourself seriously.
Right.
You wrote a contract for things that you needed to do and made sure that folks, okay, I know I had to pay you on this time or whatever. You took a payment plan or whatever it is. You gave opportunities for people to be able to pay you. If they say, hey, I don't have the 500 today, you say, listen, you got 200 today. How about next month? I'll write you a contract. You're going to give me another 100 or whatever the case may be. And that might be a stream of income for you. So definitely keep yourself as some type of value. Everybody has some type of value. So that's what I would say to that.
Nice. No, I appreciate that. Because a lot of people are too afraid to start charging. And I mean, we're talking about music and music related thing, but it goes anywhere. People will do an exercise class online and go, well, I can't really charge because, I'm just doing Zoom and then they'll see somebody else that's doing the same thing charging. And they go, well, how they going to charge? They took themselves seriously and they're on a different path.
That's right. Package yourself. It's important how you package your what you're offering. A lot of people are offering basic things, as you said, like an exercise class. But when you see what's being offered, the way it's packaged, it's like, man, I want to be in that gym. Because of the way it looks, or because of the equipment that's there, or because of the lighting, or whatever it is, the music that's playing, whatever it is that's going on. It doesn't, oftentimes it doesn't cost a whole lot to package what it is you're offering.
Right.
Now, if if your job is to be in front of a camera or something like that, make sure what it is you look like looks great.
Right.
If you're going to charge for something, whatever it is you got to do, got to be presented properly, whatever it is. And people will pay for it. And they'll choose 5 different candidates of whatever it is, and the best looking one may be the one that they choose, even though they all may seem to do the same thing or function the same way or have the same type of quality.
Right.
So the presentation, definitely work on that.
100%. Now, a lot of people look at Glen Mosley and they go, man, he's played for so many people. He's got Mouse Click Productions. He's a multi-platinum producer. And they don't think of, or they don't when they go through tough times, they think that other people don't go through tough times. So wanted you to share, what is one of the toughest things God pulled you through?
Okay. Well, all right. Well, I'll say having your own business, having being an entrepreneur, you're not going to be able to say with any certainty what your income is going to be every month or every time period, quarter, if
Right.
you want to call it. So there are going to be times when the money is slow. There's going to be times when the clientele that you have are just not spending. There are going to be times when the job opportunities that you set up for yourself or have not set up for yourself cause you to be in a place where it's not enough. And one thing I tell folks is, you get some money, tithe.
Mm-hmm.
Put your money in that offering basket. Put your money in that tithe. Whatever you got to do, and God will make sure that opportunities pop up. And there have been plenty times when I said to myself, you know what, this money right here, I see. I have a section of my wallet that has tithe, and sometimes it'll have like $1,000 in there, and the section of money that I spend will have like 50 or so. And I'll be looking at that. I'll be like, man, I need, yeah, yo, And then when the church basket comes around, I'm like, you know what? Let me get this thing out of here. Let me get this money out of this wallet, because I know that something else is going to come down the road. And as I've seen many times, I've been in a place where I need something, and the favor comes. It may not just be money. It may not be dollars and cents, but the opportunity to not have to pay something or to get something without monetary layout has come, or checks have arrived. It might sound funny that ministers, you've heard them say the check is in the mail, or somebody's going to say, hey, money's going to come to you some kind of way. And I've seen that actually happen, and checks have come in the mail. People have come and been on my phone as I'm thinking about, okay, how is this going to work out? And then maybe a day later or the evening, my phone rings and I'm like, oh, so that's another item that was on my list that I didn't know whether it was going to work out or not. Boom, here it comes. And here comes somebody else saying, hey, listen, I heard that you this, and I heard that you that, and other people. I have 10 people that want to do X, Y, and Z. I've seen it over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely lean on God, because you're going to need it at the times when things are low. And then when the times are high, continue to give that tithe. I don't know if I have a specific thing that I could say, hey, God got me out. Well, yes, there is something non-music related, and I'll just kind of touch on this. I used to be a credit card guy, and I had credit cards. Let's just say that I had credit cards, a lot of them. I used to make them. I used to use them. I used to send them out to crews of people to make stuff happen. And there was a time when I went to jail, and having done a bunch of this credit card stuff, came up that I went to jail on a Thursday, which was, I believe, was July 3rd of a certain year. And there's anybody who's familiar with the court system, on July 4th, it's not open. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm not going to get out until Monday, or at least have a chance to post bail till Monday. So I said, you know what, God, let's make a deal. Let's talk. And I said, listen, I don't know how this is going to happen, but I need to be bailed out today. And this is Friday on 4th of July. And I'm hearing like fireworks outside. And I'm like, look, I don't know how to not play for church, or I can't get anybody to cover me. There's Sunday, there's Saturday. I don't know what to tell these folk. I don't have any way to get out. I'm stuck. So Lord, I will sell everything that I have. I will stop and pack it all up if you can get me out of here. 5 minutes later, I heard like the door lock. It has some automatic door lock clink. and they called Mosley. And I went to the desk outside, and the guy I thought he was going to tell me, here's some paperwork that you got to sign or something that shows, these are your charges or whatever the case may be. He says, you're bailed out. I'm like, oh,
wow.
Really? How? And it's apparently the computer is not supposed to set your bail on times when the court is not open, but a bail was set. And my wife had come to bail me out, not knowing whether there was going to be a number in there. And it turned out that there was a number. And after that, sold everything, got out of that whole situation. I thank God. And that is an example of a tough spot that God got me out of. Similar to when money is low, God will help you.
Yeah.
He will help you. And you just got to find opportunities like now to share the story and to basically encourage somebody else. Not only God is real, but God, he understands everything that's going on in your life. He'll help you out of anything, but in return, share the good news. Tell somebody about it. Help somebody else out. Let them know, hey, this is real. This is how I got out of it. And that's basically what I think you're doing your good service. You know what I mean? That's how I got. I don't want to say saved, but that's how that God helped me.
Right. I'm so glad you shared that story, because I didn't want this all to just be about music or, straight to musicians and artists. And so many people that get themselves in, and it could be musicians, artists, or just somebody in general, they get themselves in some kind of hot water, or they're in the middle of, I'm doing this, but I'm also doing this. I'm doing a little hustle on the side, and getting out and like giving everything to God and saying, all right, you know what? I'm gonna do away with the stuff that is not gonna please you, God. I'm gonna do just the stuff that you let me know, the stuff that you blessed me to do. It turns your whole life around, and it hearing those stories, I know, touches people. I know it could even give mothers hope if their child is into, whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, definitely. So I appreciate you sharing that story with, millions of listeners.
That's great. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. So now, let me ask you this. Being where you are now, seeing everything you've seen, you're married, you got a daughter.
Right.
What would you tell your 18-year-old self if you could talk to your 18-year-old self?
Yeah. Okay, first thing I'd say, buy some property. Well, save money, buy some property. I wish that when I was 18 that I had been able to take advantage of snatching up some property, even if it was with 3 or 4 other individuals putting some money together, or even money from their parents or whatever the case may be. If we all had got a brownstone with 3 floors, I would have had a floor. Everybody else, 2 other people might have had a floor, or somebody would have the basement, and we'd have been able to pay that. We're looking at the type of money, not to say at 18, but at 18, I would tell myself, listen, save money, stop trying to get a car with chrome rims and all of this stuff, wasting money on entertainment. And maybe you might be considered to be a dull person or a square or whatever the case may be. But when it counts, like when you turn 25 or turn 30 or whatever the case may be, boom, you're buying a house or you're investing into stocks or other things or whatever the case may be. Now, another thing I would have told myself, like musically, like learn more genres of music. I wish that I had dipped into some of the other things that I'm doing, more jazz and more other genres of music, so that I could have, I think, exponentially more opportunities to do things nowadays, or shortly after I started doing music, I think I would have had a lot more opportunity to grow, and it may not have been as much of a struggle as it was to get where I'm at. What else would I tell my 18-year-old self? Yeah, that's about it. Just basically work on your craft,
Mm-hmm.
research everything that you're trying to do, and stay away from people who are doing nothing. Because there's a lot of
Yeah.
people who kind of, in that category or year in those years, I was around a lot of people who kind of found it fun to be on the couch. They found it fun to kind of like beat the system. I'm like barely working and I'm getting a check.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to do anything. All I got to do is sit there and I can just be on my phone and the check is coming in. That's really not going to help you get to any great goals down the road, because if that kind of becomes your way of life, then by the time you get up into 30 and by the time you get up into higher numbers, is going to be burnt in,
Yeah.
and you're going to be an underachiever, if you want to call it that. And I don't consider myself to be an underachiever at all. And I would tell my 18-year-old self, don't be an underachiever. Hang with some folks that are doing some things. And that might be difficult because a lot of times people are bound to their peer groups based on where they live or where they go to church or where they hang out, or whatever, who they went to school with and different things like that. So, I would tell my 18-year-old self, find some other people
Mm-hmm.
to associate with who are actually doing stuff. And that would help me a lot more as far as it comes to opportunity and being able to get to a great place, and figure out that there's something you have to work towards when you get to 30 or when you get to 40 or when you get to 60.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to think about that. Nobody at 18 is really thinking about what's going on at 60. So, and many opportunities have come by my 18-year-old self or 25 or 26-year-old self that I wish I had been able to take advantage of. There was a time where I had uh, probably $20,000 or $30,000 cash,
Mm-hmm.
and I noticed that there was a sign went up on some buildings that were some houses. Some row houses were being built around the area, and it said grand opening sale $88,000. And I'm thinking to myself, I could get one of those, or I wish I could like put down money, but the way I was getting the money, I was afraid to say, hey, I got 20,000 to put down on this house. And they would ask me like, well, okay, where you get the money? Why couldn't I have did something? I could have gave the money to somebody who has uh, a history of having money in their account. My friend's dad or whoever was buying houses at the time. I should just gave them the money and let them buy the house and then let them sell it to me for $1 or whatever the case may be. And
Mm-hmm.
the 18 and that crowd needs to know that ownership and saving and having something that appreciates is going to be important later down in life.
Nice. 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 So now let me ask this. What's next for Glen Mosley?
What's next?
I know you always keep it pushing, so I know
Yeah, you know
there's
what? I still am doing music production. I would like to have a few opportunities to get on another major project or platinum record, etc., like that. That's what I'm kind of working towards, to get more on some TV shows. But in general, just build more streams of income, because
mm-hmm.
in this line of work, it's better to have 10 different things with money coming in than one main thing. So if I could just build up residual income, whether it be on a platinum record or not, I just put a record together and put it out there, and it's selling or whatever the case. If I put 50 records out there, then that's a line of income. Or if I could start some other thing, like I've started mouse click computers, and people are having a lot of computer work done, laptops being purchased, etc. That's a line of income. If I could just add on more streams of income, and perhaps some of them would be autonomous, meaning they would work on their own. I could hire someone to do certain things and
Mm-hmm.
let it be working while I'm doing something else. And what's next is just to get more. That's what I'm thinking. More streams of income.
Nice. Now, how can people follow you, support, tell them all about your companies,
Oh, okay. Well, I got a Facebook page at facebook.com/GlenMosley, Glen Mosley. That's my personal page. And I have a business page. If you go to that Facebook page, you'll be able to select Mouse Click Productions. And I have some examples of work on there that you can see that I've done. There's also Mouse Click Computers. Mouse Click spelled MOUSECLIQUE. You could probably see it somewhere in the bottom here.
Mm-hmm.
And you can look that up and send folks who need mixes done. Send folks who need production done. Send folks who need computer work done. Send folks who need installation of a sound system or mix work live. And you could support me that way. Send folks who need work done. That's basically my Facebook page and my Facebook business pages. That's where you guys can reach me.
Nice. And let me throw my stamp on this. This guy is Glenn is an excellent producer, engineer. We do the same thing. We both produce, we both engineer, and it's nice to have someone in the business that's not trying to go, oh, all mine. There's enough food for everybody. There's enough stuff for everybody. He's got a different take on music than I do. He's got the R&B. He's just, I don't want to put him in a box and say just R&B and gospel hip hop or cutting edge stuff. He could do the traditional stuff too, but it's that commercial sound that you're looking for. He's got that. He's got that on lock. So definitely check him out. Check out his page. Look him up. Listen to some of his stuff. It's good. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Let me put it that way.
Boss.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. Any final thoughts, words of advice you want to leave listeners with?
Yeah, well, don't give up on your dream. Like I did. I decided, you know what, I'm gonna keep at this. And I kept hearing opposition. I kept hearing like it's not gonna work. But keeping at it and continuing to reinvent myself, continuing to research what I'm doing and change my mentor to better people and change my standard for myself. I'd say that you should not give up on your dream. Definitely have your 9-to-5 or whatever you got to do to start. But if your goal is to be an entrepreneur, don't give up. You can do it because I did it.
Nice. I appreciate that. Again, this is the Words for Life podcast. You can check us out at wordsforlife.today. That's www.4life.today. There you'll see some Words for Life tracks. You'll see where you can get the podcast, and also you can join the Words for Life family. So you'll get the inspirational stuff. We're starting we already started a apparel line also in conjunction with Be More Today. So when you go there, you'll see the Be More Today shirts. You'll see the Words for Life shirts. It's all one big family. So we appreciate that. Wordsforlife.today. Glenn, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for taking the time out.
Not a problem. It was my pleasure. Definitely enjoyable and glad to help out.
Yes, sir. And like I always like to say, you can will yourself to do better, but you can only be your best with God. And with that, we're out.